today it'll be some more X-ray finding stuff, more of the common things that we see on reports. And this is something that, not necessarily even accident related, which is most what I deal with. But even if you have, imaging done of the spine anywhere, if you go to any sort of chiropractor or medical doctor, one of the things that you'll see, always mention and always keep this in mind when you are the clinician or when you are the patient receiving this information from the clinician, that the radiologist that looks over the image and turns in the report is just commenting on everything that they see, and the words they can use sometimes can seem harsh, but they're just descriptive, and that's really what they're doing. They're just describing the image with their language, and none of it means anything one way or the other. They always, a lot of times at the ends of the reports, leave you with these findings need to be correlated with the clinical findings, or something to that effect. So something that you see a lot on the reports is one of two things: either patient has mild levoscoliosis, so to the left, or mild dextroscoliosis to the right. And those kinds of findings, when they're being read to you, like when I'm reading that stuff, I don't even mention those things to a patient when we're talking about accident related issues and why we took the x-ray. I didn't take the x-ray to let the patient know that when they were standing at the x-ray office that day, their spine had a slight right curve to it. Like, it doesn't matter. And it really doesn't matter at all in any context, because it might not even be relevant. For one, it's probably not relevant clinically in any way, shape, or form. And the other thing is the relevancy is low because it might not actually be there. Just there's a lot of reasons something like that could show up in a moment in time when a person is standing at the x-ray machine. Because most of the time when you're taking an x-ray of a patient, like in our instance, it's right after an accident, so they're in pain, so they're going to be a lot of times standing certain ways to avoid things hurting. And same is true with any clinic. Somebody's coming to you because they're hurting, and if you're getting an x-ray taken, it's hard for them to always stand a particular way because of some of the pain they might be in. So some of these findings, they can show up, but they don't really necessarily mean anything. The problem becomes when the clinician reading the report latches on to that language to utilize it in a way that is going to create some sort of emotional response and fear in the patient to drive them towards signing up for some sort of care plan that's probably not necessary, and it may not even be relevant to what they're experiencing. So this is more for the the education of like the young clinician, understanding that if you're sending these things out to be read and they come back with language like that, doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of how you're going to approach treating the patient. And number two, this is to educate the patient and any of you who may go in to chiropractor's office or other doctor's office with back pain, and an x-ray is taken and somebody says, oh man, look at this curve here, this could be leading to X, Y, and Z, and this long treatment plan that I think you need is going to correct that, and all that's horseshit, we'll just say. So it's just something that's there. It's something that is described on the report because the radiologist sees it. The clinical relevancy is almost non-existent. So just as a clinician, it's not something to necessarily worry about. And as a patient, also not something to worry about. So don't allow somebody to convince you that it is something to worry about. See you later.